What's up, y'all? How's everybody doing out there tonight? It's the Friday edition of Burn It Down with Kim Brown. Today is Groundhog's Day. No, this is not a repeat. Yes, this is a live show. And I'm so glad y'all are in here with me. It might as well be damn Groundhog's Day. Sounds like motherfucking the United States has what? Started bombing in Iraq and Syria, supposedly as retaliation for Iran helping out Palestine. I don't know. But I'm like, wait a minute. The US bombing inside of Iraq and Syria. I'm like, sure, that's news, but isn't that everyday news? Doesn't that happen all the time? Don't like it here, gang. Sure don't. Anyway, but I love it here with y'all. So thank you all so much for joining me. We've got a good show in store for you today. Y'all boy Joe Biden's at it again. And the media is at it again. All about this, leadership, black leadership in the entertainment industry. And Joe Biden is going to meet with the black leaders in entertainment. Black leaders of what? Of people? of payola? Like, what are they the black leaders of? I have questions. And we're also going to get into a story coming out of Miami. We covered this when it happened past April. Pardon me. April 22 is when this murder happened, a domestic violence murder of a young man by the name of Christian. He was killed by his then girlfriend. Her name is Courtney. Courtney is an OnlyFans model, apparently a very successful one. But I wanted to take a look at the ways that domestic violence and again in hetero relationships, guys, because I do not have the range. Okay, I absolutely know there is a very broad conversation to be had, and I do try to have it kind of broadly about domestic violence, but I look at it through a hetero lens because that's the lens, sadly, that I know, right? So the way that DV shows up in non-binary relationships or LGBTQ relationships, I can't speak to that. And that's not because I'm not sensitive or aware of it. What is it, kids? I lack the range. I'm just keeping it a buck. So I'm gonna talk about the shit from the very basic hetero perspective and how this woman, Courtney, who has been charged with second-degree murder of Christian, demonstrated a lot of aggression. She demonstrated tremendous, like I was watching the videos, I'm like, yup, that's emotional manipulation, yup, that's financial manipulation, yup, that is being physically aggressive with the expectation of escalating the incident. I'm like, god damn, this bitch is checking them all off. So I want us to talk about what DV looks like when men are the victim slash survivors. And tragically, in this instance, Christian was a victim. He did not survive this. And her trial's set to start this month. But I wanted to take a look at some stuff pertaining to that. So anywho, a little trigger warning there. But before we get rolling, let me say what's up to y'all. Let me say what's up to the good sis, Rosalba. Rosalba, I think you're more like a niece, beloved. I don't know if you're sis, you little baby face out here, Rosalba. You might be one of my nieces out here, Rosalba. Thank you so much for signing up to become a patron. I deeply, deeply appreciate it, and I've appreciated all your support all of this time. So thank you for making it official. I guess, but it was official anyway, Rosalba. So thank you for throwing a few bucks on it, baby. I sure appreciate that. Oh, look at us. Okay, we in here, out here. Oh shit, Blue Cross Blue Shield's running commercials on my channel. I don't know why. What's going on? Hold on. Let me skip on this. Oh, it's not even letting me skip. Anyway, go look at my YouTube video on BIDWKB on Instagram so y'all can see how YouTube continues to demonetize. And they demonetizing like old shit. Like they demonetized like our Thanksgiving day, our live show. And I'm like, why though? I know why, and y'all know why. So there's that. So anyway, double middle fingers to YouTube because they be some dorks out here. There goes Renee Johnston. Renee! I did see the picture of you, Jared, and Hiram. I said, look at these fine motherfuckers. All these niggas shining and shit. No, oh my gosh, Renee, you're so gorgeous. There's a number of you all that are like legit gorgeous. And I'm like, I like y'all so much as people. I am so jealous of all the height and the hair. If you don't get this pretty bitch away from me, when we have the live BPM event, don't take no pictures with me, Renee. You're not gonna make me look bad. We can hang out. No pictures, no pictures. No pictures with Renee. I'm gonna be out here looking like, oh, let me shut up, but I'm just fucking with you. Anyway, shout out to Renee Johnston. Be sure to tune in to Saturdays with Renee, Black Power Media. That comes on at noon. What time do you and Jared go live, Renee? Drop that in the chat. Because I have to watch Jared's shit later because y'all, all Jared's shows go long. So I gotta schedule them joints in increments. Shout out to Holly. Peace to Warren Register. Thank you so much. Nat A. What's up, baby? Shout out to Kane and Nat. What's up, Wendy? Thank you so much for being here. Anna Hart's in the building. Thank you so much, Anna Hart. Let's see who else we got in here. Holly, did I already say what's up to you? Donnie? No, well, I think Donnie will be in here if she ain't already. Shout out to Afra. Afra is in the building. We have all of our all-stars checking in. I absolutely love to see it. So thank everybody. Woo, woo, woo. Look at what that's what happens when I dip away from the chat. It just comes in very fast. So anyway, guys. Ooh, Rosalba. There you go, baby. Big up as always to our mods. Shout out to Court and Latif. Handling the wrenching situation. We appreciate it. Thank you, King Kamashiro, for coming through. Showing your face, and shout out to everyone that watches later. Listen, I love it when y'all are in the chat. It's wonderful. I really appreciate the community of folks that are part of the Fire Fam. But if you watch later, that's fine too. I get it. Shout out to our UK contingent. Big up to Ursula. Big up to V. Big up to Damien Stone Alona. Big up to Lady Heloise. You know, I know sometimes the abroad youngins, you gotta watch it at a more convenient time. Trust me, I get it. So anyway, guys, let's go ahead and get this party started. Do me a favor, like the video, thumbs up, subscribe, become a channel member if you would like to, or you could join us on Patreon, patreon.com/BIDWKB. Our first story is going to start with Genocide Joe. Genocide Joe is on the campaign trail, as you guys know. And as I said at the top of the show, NBC News, at least, is reporting that the United States has begun retaliatory strikes against Iran in connection to, I guess they blaming all kinds of shit on Iran. What was the main thing they said Iran did? He's back in Iran is back in the Houthis. Oh, duh. They killed the service members in Jordan, allegedly, says the U.S. Says the U.S. is putting the blame on Iran for that. So these retaliatory strikes are in response to the loss of lives via U.S. soldiers. So Joe Biden's got a lot on his plate, and he's supporting a genocide in Palestine. You know, he's a busy guy. So in between, he has made time to hit the campaign trail. Joe Biden has been hitting battleground states like Michigan, like Florida, Pennsylvania, and in betwixt there, he has made time to fundraise. And pretty much since the latter part of 2023, mainly pro-Palestine protesters have been on Joe Biden's ass at some fundraisers. They stand outside of the location, the private home, or wherever the shady people like to do their $2,500 a plate, and that's the low end, right? $2,500 a plate fundraisers, but the pro-Palestine people primarily will be outside of those gated communities. They will be lining the streets, really from Chicago. I saw from Miami. Shout out to People City Council and some of the other groups out there in Los Angeles. November, December of 2023, they were giving Joe Biden's fundraisers the fucking blues. So Biden is not going to miss an opportunity to raise money, right? So this weekend coming up is the Grammys. Honestly, when's the last time y'all watched the Grammys? Be honest. Y'all, I bet you I can guess. The last time y'all watched the Grammys was to watch Beyonce not win album of the year, right? And that's not, I'm not even joking that shit. I'm just guessing that's the last time y'all watched the Grammys because I'm sure a lot of y'all was fed up after that shit. I was like, you know what? I'm not watching this shit ever again. I don't have that sentiment, but I think a lot of people did, regardless. So, because Los Angeles in proximity to Nevada, which is also a battleground state that Biden and Trump are both vying for, it's been reported. Put up that goofy article. I'm sorry. Put up that goofy article, Will, for me if you could. Uh yeah, because Deadline is reporting, and this is kind of I wanted to bring this up for a number of reasons because of of what it says and then the way it says it. So this is from Deadline, and it says Joe Biden to meet with black entertainment industry leaders during Los Angeles visit this weekend. And his campaign is running an ad during the Grammy show. We'll get into that in just a moment. But the interesting thing about this article, it doesn't really say which black leaders Joe Biden is going to meet with. However, and I think obviously that's intentional. Um, this was likely leaked by the Biden campaign or put out, hence the term blind item, but not a blind item per se. Like, so all the only attribution this article references is a source close to the campaign, right? So my thoughts are the Biden campaign intentionally floated this, that Joe Biden was intending to meet with specifically black entertainment industry leaders, whilst not naming any of these leaders. And I think that may have been at the request of said leaders, right? Joe Biden is not polling that great these days. Joe Biden is not hot in the streets as it pertains to black people, and his supporting of the Palestinian genocide is certainly not bringing more people into Joe Biden's corner. In fact, he's seeing a lot of brown defections, right? Or people not even defecting to Trump, just defecting, not fucking with the Joe Biden behind his enabling and supporting of the Israeli state in this, right? So, but I wanted to mention that in previous entertainment industry fundraisers, the black people that have been reported to be or have been in attendance include Shonda Rhimes, the powerhouse producer, showrunner, Grey's Anatomy, and related. Lenny Kravitz has been known to perform at a Los Angeles area fundraiser for Joe Biden. And we can even throw in some more likely suspects, right? The Tyler Perry, Oprah lives out in Montecito, not that far, you know what I'm saying? Like I just can it's a murderer's row of the black bougies that like to consider themselves political power players. And Joe Biden obviously considers them political power players too, because part of what Biden is going to do, allegedly reported in this article, is to ask some of these entertainment powerhouses for their endorsement, to utilize the vastness of their platforms amongst the demographic that the Democrats count on, depend on during presidential elections. But somehow this same demographic, black folks, only get addressed. Our actual needs only kind of sometimes come up in the conversation when it's a presidential election year, right? Because Joe Biden, trust and believe, is going to roll out the fact that he appointed Ketanji Brown Jackson to the Supreme Court. He's going to roll out the fact that he made Juneteenth a federal holiday. Sir, the whites get Juneteenth off, okay? Like that to me automatically erases any good that you think Juneteenth is doing for black people, because the white people, it's a federal as you can see, I'm still very bothered by by that sad reality. And no disrespect to all the white comrades we have here. Y'all know how I feel about the situation. You know I want y'all to go to work on Juneteenth, right? I'm sorry. I gotta toss out that worker solidarity, and then we gotta go race first. I'm sorry. White friends, y'all got to go to work. I'm sorry. It's the principles thing. Anyway, I'm sorry. I'm on a tangent. So anyway, Joe Biden is gonna roll out those symbolic things, those gestures that he's done for us, that has done nothing to provide healthcare for black people, to address the tremendous gaps. I don't even fuck earnings, fuck wealth. I mean, not to say fucking per se, but the healthcare problem, the education problem, the over policing problem, these things to me are things that can be tangibly fixed by government. And some would argue even the wealth and the income gap can be fixed by government too. And I don't disagree with that, but I ain't ready to talk about all that right now. I ain't talking about all that right now. But anyway, hold on. But just to give y'all an idea of the kind of goofiness that and the actual worth of whatever entertainment black celebrity would endorse Joe Biden or has endorsed Joe Biden in the past. Well, if you could pop up that Variety article, kids, if I could transport you back to the year 2020, when a certain mogul, take that, when this person was still very much in the good graces of Hollywood and in the entertainment industry at large, where he was still widely respected and lauded as a mega producer, one of the architects of hip hop as a culture, right? Not the initial part, but the 90s and shit and onward. Sean Diddy Combs endorsed Joe Biden and also launched a black political party. Did you guys remember this? Because I totally forgot. It didn't shock me that Diddy had endorsed Biden, and to what extent there were some. I would have to imagine there has to be some sort of negotiation involved with someone of Diddy's stature and a campaign of any kind, right? Like, is Diddy gonna give us this is not something that the Biden campaign at the time in 2020. I'm sure it wasn't something that they were not expecting. They may not have. I don't fucking know, but you understand what I'm saying? Like, I don't think Diddy gave that up for nothing. You dig? And this article is referencing the interview that Diddy gave at the time to Charlemagne, where they were having a wide ranging, I suppose, discussion about Black folks in politics and the role that we play, the role that our vote plays. And in some pieces of this, Diddy actually was sort of reflective of the ineptitude of the two-party system, usually giving us the usual bemoaning that a lot of us have, like, fuck the Republicans, fuck the, I mean, he wasn't saying all that. He was basically saying there's not a lot of difference between the political parties in their inability or refusal to outright address our issues. But he was saying, but we still have to leverage our vote, and the Democrats, we gotta stay, pushing them and trying to hold them accountable. And he and Charlemagne both dragged in Kamala Harris as though her appointment to be the first ever woman woman vice president and first ever woman vice president who was black, as though that was a good thing. They were like, yeah, it's a good thing we got Kamala in there to bridge the gap of communicate to do what? to bridge the gap of communication between who and who. Not between the people and the White House, because Kamala Harris, let me check my notes, it's the fucking police. What are you talking about, Diddy and Charlemagne? But goofy niggas are going goofy, so what can I say? So it'll be interesting to see whether or not any of these alleged black entertainment leaders make it known that they were at a Joe Biden fundraiser. And to be clear, I mean, it's not necessarily a disgraceful thing from their perspective. It's just a disgraceful thing from our perspective. It's right. Like, how dare you go in there and rub elbows with Jim Crow Joe, most recently known as Genocide Joe? Like, how are you going to go in there and rub elbows with him? Especially, well, ever, but especially in this particular moment with the atrocities that are happening in Palestine, that are happening with US support, with US munitions, with US tanks, with US missiles, with US taxpayer funded support of Israel's Iron Dome, and now expanded airstrikes in Iraq and Syria, which I'm pretty sure they was doing last week. But these is new, these are different. These new different airstrikes, right? So I don't see how anybody, but I know this is not about race, this is about class when it comes to these Hollywood bougies. Like, they want to be adjacent to the power. And they don't care what we think at the end of the day. But maybe they will eventually care what we think. But listen, so this is what's happening in Southern California, where the Bidens are about to make another run through the very lucrative SoCal fundraising coffers, right? There's a lot of money in Southern California. These people tend to be liberals, and they will open up their pockets and their wallets to give to Democrats, right? So it's probably going to be a good haul for Joe Biden. He's probably accepted that he definitely will encounter some of those protesters, especially pro-Palestine protesters, that are determined to disrupt and make as uncomfortable as they are able any Biden fundraising efforts. And that's exactly what Joe Biden, that's what all of these politicians deserve, even the ones that you like. They still deserve it. You know what I'm saying? Because they are enabling genocide in Palestine, but also enabling the rise of fascism here in the US. Well, the decline of capitalism, I guess, is going to happen by itself. but in the meantime, all of us, a lot of us, many of us are victims of capitalism, and our elected leaders do nothing to try to ameliorate that. So fuck them. But let me tell you who's really telling Joe Biden, fuck him. In Northern California, I just peeped this recently. I believe it was last week. A hearing was held in the federal courthouse, I believe in Oakland, California, for Palestinians that are suing as individuals Joe Biden, Anthony Blinken, Secretary of State, and Lloyd Austin, Secretary of Defense, for the atrocities that are occurring in Palestine. I was blown away when I heard this, and I know y'all are sharper than me, so this may not be news to you, but the shit was news to me, and I was encouraged to hear it. So I want you guys to take a look at this. This is a package from Al Jazeera Plus, and this was on TikTok, and with every unfolding revelation of a detail about this lawsuit, I'm like, oh, wow. That's cool. I mean, not cool. It's not cool. The whole situation is the opposite of cool, but it's good. It's encouraging to see that some form of accountability could kind of be possible. You guys will be inspired. I was too. So let's take a look at this package from Al Jazeera Plus.
I'm outside a U.S. federal court where Palestinians are testifying in an unprecedented lawsuit against the Biden administration for its complicity in Israel's genocide in Gaza.
Just the fact that we were granted this hearing is a huge victory for all of us who are here representing our family members, those who have been killed by the Israeli army, with U.S. support, with our tax dollars.
Palestinian human rights organizations, along with Palestinians in Gaza and the U.S., filed the lawsuit against President Biden, Secretary of State Blinken, and Secretary of Defense Austin for their failure to prevent and their complicity in Israel's ongoing genocide.
I can't think of another time in federal court history we've had Palestinians take the witness stand and speak about their experiences with Israeli violence.
The mood in the courtroom was emotional. We heard heartbreaking testimonies of how these plaintiffs have been personally affected by the widespread death and destruction in Gaza.
Part of my testimony was about the heartbreaking footage of everything I've ever known being destroyed. My neighborhood, my kindergarten, my university, every place I had memories in. The three defendants have blood of Palestinian children in their hands.
I felt compelled to testify that what's happening in Gaza right now is a clear-cut case of genocide. They're not just going after military targets, they're going after civilians, and they're trying to undo the conditions that support life in the region.
Today's hearing is the first step in what plaintiffs hope will be a U.S. court order for Biden to stop diplomatic and military support to Israel.
Just today, one of my cousins finally got around to telling me really horrific, gruesome details of how he had to bury the parts of my cousins and his mother with his own hands in a mass grave. And the other surviving members are dispossessed and displaced and starving. I promised them I would do everything in my power to speak on their behalf to put an end to this genocide.
The Biden administration has bypassed Congress multiple times since October to sell arms to Israel and has blocked efforts to secure a ceasefire.
He needs to immediately stop the genocide, and he has the power to do it. He's been sending more military hardware, sending more funds to Israel, and we say enough is enough.
The Biden administration argued in court that foreign policy is decided by the executive branch, not the courts, and so this case should be thrown out. The testimonies today came on the heels of an International Court of Justice order that Israel must take all measures to prevent a genocide in Gaza.
I think it's really an incredible moment in history and a very strong message that the world refuses to stay silent.
Over 26,000 Palestinians have been killed in Gaza since October 7th, at least 10,000 of them children.
The hearing today ended with the judge saying he's going to be taking everything into serious consideration and that this will be one of the most difficult cases this court has ever tried.
My cousin keeps telling me, tell everyone, tell anyone who's out there on the streets or in their homes or calling their representatives to keep doing what they're doing, because that makes them feel that they are not alone, that they are being heard, and that their lives matter.
Whew, y'all. Even when the ICJ made that ruling, basically supporting South Africa's petition to have Israel declared as, committing genocide against the Palestinians, I was surprised that it happened. Well, number one, because I'm surprised that they actually listened to Black people. I was like, oh, whoa. They gave the credence of the Black barrister, whoever it was who was the presenter. My man laid out his case. He said, check this out here. So I was surprised the ICJ at least made a favorable ruling that the shit can go forward, right? So that kind of gives me a little encouragement. I mean, I don't expect, right? I can't remember who said it. Was it Zora Neale Hurston? Maybe it's improperly attributed to Zora Neale Hurston. But what's the quote that's widely misquoted, as I am also about to misquote it? But what the master's house cannot be dismantled with the master's tools, right? I support the spirit and the effort of this. If we actually lived in a country that legitimately cared and pursued justice, cared about and pursued justice, obviously these Palestinians have lots of ground to go on. Joe Biden is enabling Israel's genocide of Palestine. Joe Biden is shirking any influence that the U.S. could have to call for a ceasefire. And these people are suffering. Their family members are suffering and have suffered. You guys have heard the countless stories of Palestinians here in the U.S. especially, who recount that they've had dozens of their family members murdered in this Israeli massacre. And they're dropping U.S. bombs in Gaza. So yeah, somebody absolutely can be liable legally for this. And yeah, the surprise is that the federal court at least agreed to let the people testify, because they could have thrown it out. And you heard the Biden administration is asking for the lawsuit to be thrown out on the grounds that the executive branch, was in charge of foreign policy, not the courts. Well, what if the executive branch is complicit in war crimes? What if the executive branch is complicit in violating international treaties, of violating who's them niggas over there in Europe, the Hague and shit, the international courts, right? Well, and to be honest, like I don't even think the U.S. is signatory to some of these international bodies for that reason, right? Because they don't want to be called to the carpet of war crimes, because the U.S. would be called to the carpet of war crimes going back a lot of years, many decades, right? The US is committing war crimes on today. So I want to send the love and the solidarity to the Palestinians in Palestine, the ones that are still actively resisting the genocide and the ones that are just falling victim to the overwhelming might of the Israeli army. And and not to say it's Hamas 0 and Israel, 26,000. Hamas is letting the chopper sing on these mammals, okay? Make no mistake about that. Shout out to Electronic Intifada. If you don't believe me, go look. If you don't believe me, go take a look. Go take a look. It's not just the resistance in Palestine are not just simply laying down, although thousands of innocents have been stolen, and most of them have been women and children. So that goes to show you who the fuck Israel is really fighting out here. So anyway, Joe Biden's going to have a hell of a time trying to overcome the unpopularity of this U.S. support of Israel, of his waning black support, that he's got to go hat in hand to the fucking Grammys. He's not going to the Grammys, by the way, but he is going to be around and in town in Los Angeles during Grammy weekend. And in fact, as I mentioned, the Biden campaign said that they are slated to run a campaign ad during the Grammys focusing on restrictive abortion rights. But this ad is only slated to run in battleground states. So if you live in a battleground state, chances are you'll see that. And that is what the Biden campaign, by the way, is committing to running on. And it's like, oh, well, it's a good thing y'all got on this shit after the fucking Supreme Court rule. And it's like, it's a good thing. Oh, y'all are on this now. Okay. Well, it's a good thing it's not too late, right? For half the pregnant people living in the country. It's a good, whew. I'm glad y'all decided to focus on this, but it's some would have said the horse had already left the barn, but okay, go off, Joe and Kami and Kamala. Go off. Let me take a little pause for the cause. Alazarine, thank you so much for your super chat support. Truth and justice and love. We will take all three in equal amounts, will we not? Thank you so much for your support, guys. If you want to support the channel, you can do that. Show us up, Lady Alex. Thank you so much for showing up. There go my son, Tyler. What's up, Tyler? Now listen, y'all. We rely heavily on Tyler because Tyler is our lone Gen Z viewer, okay? And Tyler be out here in these streets. So Tyler, the fact that you come to my show, I take a lot of pride in that, because I'm like, Tyler be out here in everybody chat, and he come to my chat, and I love that because he's Gen Z, right? We get the pulse of the youth when Tyler Hackner's in the building. So thank you, Tyler, my son. You totally could be my son too, Tyler. Oh, you'd be a great son too, Tyler. I bet you would. So anyway, we appreciate everybody coming through. What was I going to say to y'all? Nothing. Okay, so let me move along, because I have smoked and toked. So the short-term memory, it is on the fritz. It be on the fritz. We don't be remembering everything, do we? Nope, sure don't. We just accept it and move along. Thank you guys so much for being here. Let me straighten up, because this is my serious story. This is a serious story, and I definitely want to give it the deference and the seriousness of which it deserves, because this is a conversation I want us to be having more openly when it comes to questions and discussions about domestic violence. We do not talk about men as survivors or victims of domestic violence. And sometimes when a story hits the headlines, it opens a door for an opportunity to kind of do that. So last 2 Aprils ago, coming up on 2 Aprils ago, I believe, April 2022, a young man by the name of Christian. My apologies for blanking on Christian's age. I want to say Christian is in his 20s. Do I have any articles up? I don't think I do. Well, that's okay. I'll be brief. Um, Christian was a young black man in his 20s. He was in a relationship with an OnlyFans model, a white woman by the name of Courtney. Courtney was a very successful OnlyFans model. She reportedly earned up to $2 million during her career as both an Instagram and an OnlyFans model. I think she was under the name Courtney Taylor. So she and Christian were in a multi-year relationship in which they had many documented volatile arguments, in which a couple of times it is clear that Courtney was being physically aggressive and escalating these arguments by either making accusations towards him, calling him names, demeaning him, and a variety of behaviors that I think are textbook abuser. Um, and I want us to look at the ways in which these behaviors present themselves from a woman's perspective, right? When the abuser is the woman, what does that look like, right? And what, if any, resources and services are available for men who are survivors and victims of domestic violence. But I want us to go. Let me bring you to the latest news in this case. So the news. I'm sorry, I did not mention the most important part. Courtney killed Christian, murdered him. Oh, pardon me, allegedly murdered him because she is under. She will soon be facing trial for second-degree murder in his killing. And let me just say something real quick. Murder is a legal term. So journalistically, supposing I'll say murder, okay, because you get convicted of murder. Murder is a legal term. So technically a person is not a murderer, supposedly, until they have been convicted of murder. But they have killed somebody, right? You can legally, journalistically say she killed him because she did kill him. That's a fact that's not in dispute. But when you're not supposed to call people murder, is what I'm saying. So I'm gonna say alleged murderer, even though I don't think it's alleged. In alleged just requires me to literally say the word alleged. Alleged does not require my belief in whether or not said thing is alleged. I do not believe this is an alleged murder. I believe this is an intentional murder, but I say alleged to CYA. So anywho, that happened April 2022 when she killed Christian. She was not immediately arrested after this killing, by the way. Christian was stabbed in the chest. What she told authorities was that she threw the knife from across the room and it wedged in his chest 3 inches deep. The medical examiner found that was bullshit, that Christian was stabbed in a downward motion with the blade penetrating his chest 3 inches deep. Courtney has been held since she has been arrested without bond. She was recently denied bond in the last couple of weeks. So she's in jail. But the latest news is that her parents have now also been arrested. Her parents were living in Texas. They have been arrested and are facing extradition to Florida, where Christian was killed, for allegedly removing Christian's laptop computer from the crime scene and improperly accessing it. So I want us to go to the latest developments, and then I want us to sort of circle back because this is a trial I'm going to be watching, everybody. There's a lot of dynamics at play in this shit, okay? The most obvious of which is that Christian was a black man and Courtney is a white woman. And this shit happened in Florida. Now, it didn't have to happen, the South as the backdrop it plays a part, but it don't have to, because this shit would still be an issue if it was the same racial and gender dynamics in fucking Massachusetts, right? Like it would still be like, how is this gonna go? Because this black man was with this white woman. What's this gonna look like? How is the jury in this area going to be influenced by their own biases? There's a lot of questions here. But first, let's start off with the most recent news pertaining to the arrest of Courtney's parents for tampering with shit. Let's take a look.
Now at 5:30, the parents of OnlyFans model Courtney Clinny are facing charges tonight. It's connected to the investigation into her boyfriend's killing.
Now, we just learned minutes ago that Clinny's mother bonded out of jail. However, her father tonight remains in custody.
It is the latest twist in a story that has made international headlines. CBS News Miami's Anna McAllister has the new details and what they could mean for the case against Courtney Clinny.
According to the affidavit, Clinny's parents, Kim and Deborah, are accused of holding on to and accessing the laptop of Clinny's deceased boyfriend, Christian Abumseli. So what does this mean for the case? Well, I spoke to a local legal expert. He's in. It's a criminal case that's turned into a family affair. Tuesday, Kim and Deborah Clinny were booked into the Travis County Jail in Texas, as their daughter Courtney sits in jail in Miami on murder charges.
We believe it's incriminating evidence, and it goes to the cover-up, which my family has always believed.
Courtney, a former OnlyFans model, is accused of stabbing her boyfriend Christian Abumseli to death in their Miami apartment in 2022. Now, prosecutors say her parents accessed and took Abumseli's personal laptop from the crime scene.
Clearly, what they did was illegal. Clearly, the attorney's office was correct in filing charges.
According to the affidavit, the Clinnys accessed or caused to be accessed the victim's laptop with knowledge that such access was unauthorized. So what does this mean for the case?
If law enforcement determines that there was some effort to either delete or try to alter or to do something with the contents that is contained within that laptop, then not only would you see the state attorney's office for Miami-Dade hold firm on the third-degree felony, there could potentially be additional charges filed.
An attorney for the Clinnys provided us with this statement that reads in part, "We believe the Clinny family has been targeted with some trumped-up charges to discredit them in the press and make their lives miserable. It stinks of a power play by the prosecutors to control the narrative." This Thursday, the state is seeking a gag order in the case. Now they've gone after Courtney's mom and dad in such a way that requires them to spend considerable time in jail without bond. If Kim and Deborah Clinny are found guilty, they could face up to 5 years in state prison. Reporting in Miami, Anna McAllister, CBS News, Miami.
Let me tell you what the prosecutors say these goofy motherfuckers did. They said that they had a long running group chat in which I suppose it had to have been Courtney. Had to have been Courtney because she's been charged with this exact same thing, or at least being a participant in illegally obtaining and accessing Christian's computer, right? So they charged her too. So long story short, they said that there was a long running group chat between her parents, her, can't remember if the lawyer was on the thread or not, but she's texting him like potential passwords. She's, telling them the computer's right there. But here's my question for the Miami-Dade law enforcement or whoever it was tasked with investigating the murder of Christian. Y'all didn't take his computer out of the crime scene, the place where he was murdered? I mean, I kind of thought that was standard operating procedure for homicide. I mean, I watch enough propaganda. You know what I'm saying? I'm not a Lifetime television auntie. I am an ID channel auntie. You understand? I know police procedure. And homicide is supposed to come and confiscate all the victim and everybody's fucking electronics, basically. Anybody who had anything in the goddamn house, iPads, iPods, iPhones, Androids, desktops, Macs, anything. Everything's getting took, right? because there's obviously potential evidence or data on these electronic devices that what I would assume could help bolster the prosecution's case. But these goofy motherfuckers left the murder victim's computer behind. And mind you, like I said, Courtney wasn't immediately arrested for Christian's murder. Like, it took some prodding. It took some pressure publicly from Christian's family. Like, the fuck is up? Like, this chick done stabbed our loved one to death, and here she is chilling. When they finally caught up with Courtney, y'all, she was in fucking Hawaii. She didn't stick around. She got the fuck out of Dodge. But she had the privilege to do that. We'll get to the privilege here shortly. Whew. So that's the latest of where we are. Now, I don't believe jury selection has not yet begun in this trial. Like, this is going to be a widely watched trial. And again, for the reasons that I said, in part, somewhat the salaciousness of she being an OnlyFans model, which, she provided adult content, sexually exploitive, not exploitive, explicit content. You know what I'm saying? I don't have a problem with sex work. Generally, I definitely don't have a problem with OnlyFans models, and good on her if she was good at her job. But as it pertains to her being a girlfriend or a partner to this young man, this woman was a menace. She was a monster. There was a number of videos that have already been floating around the internet showing their disagreements, their arguments, and honestly, outright showing the foundation for what would eventually lead up to this young man's murder. And I think it's important that we look at this behavior, identify, how it lines up with basically abusive and manipulative behavior as we, I guess, are more socialized and normalized, even to see it and expect it from men. But the way so there's a lot been made about how aggressive she is in these videos, and we are going to look at a couple of them. Let me give y'all content and trigger warnings for that. But I think it's important. I definitely do. But the fact that she behave so badly is one thing that is getting a lot of people's attention. But really, what I want y'all to also focus on is Christian's response. His response to the verbal abuse, his response to the emotional badgering, his response to the accusations of, him flirting or him looking at another girl or whatever. I can't see what more this young man could have done to diffuse these specific instances, but I believe that it's these handful of spats. I can't even call them spats because I really don't think that's a big enough word, right? These conflicts, these interactions. It's clear to me. I'm taking it as an overall representation of the tenor of their relationship, right? And I could be wrong for making that assumption, but anyway. Will, what do I have up there first? I'm sorry. Let me take a look here. I'm deeply perplexed by the enormity of the situation. And I'm not 100% confident that the dumbass fucking police and the dumbass fucking prosecutors are going to be able to convict this white woman for killing this black man in Florida in 2024. Like, I'm not 100%. I'm not sold on that. Like, I don't think this is an open and shut case, despite the fact I think that it's obvious that she was the aggressor. I'm still like, this still's America. So actually, this is where I want us to go. As I said, a number of these videos of their conflicts have been making the rounds, but I want us to take a look at a report. I believe this was out of Vegas, and this was out of 2021. Mind you, Christian was stabbed to death by Courtney in 2022, but the year before that, Courtney was actually arrested in Las Vegas and charged with domestic violence. And I think, again, like with most abusers and predators, there's a pattern leading up to the most catastrophic moment, right? Like it's been on the record, like it's known that this chick is violent. She was even arrested for it. Let's take a look at this package that sort of details that arrest.
Hold on. Hey Kim, you want the TMZ one or the TikTok first?
Let me get the TikTok, please,
All right, 1
Will.
second. Got it.
Thank you. Thank you. And again, ooh, y'all, I'm sorry. Yeah, no, y'all, it's important. It's important. We got to see this. And when I started to do some research, and I have been researching this, by the way, but like,
Ready when you
okay, let's go on and run that. So check out the arrest of Courtney Clenny in 2021 in Las Vegas for domestic violence against Christian. Let's take a look.
Disturbing scene involving a social media model and her boyfriend. Las Vegas police responding to a fight between the two months before she stabbed him to death.
7 Shutter Fox has the exclusive audio that could complicate her claims of self-defense.
Months before becoming a murder suspect,
you'll get to see a judge and they'll walk you through the process.
There was this trouble well away from Miami. It's July 27th of 2021 in Las Vegas. Courtney Clenny is being arrested by police, accused of attacking her then boyfriend, Christian Obumseli. He's in tears upon learning Vegas cops will arrest Clenny for throwing a glass at him earlier in the night inside this messy hotel room, where cops later combed for clues. The couple had argued while on vacation before it got physical, and Clenny ended up in custody of the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department and jailed for domestic battery.
Has she ever threatened to kill you?
This body camera footage obtained by 7 News.
Oh, okay.
The video, part of the prosecution's collection of evidence, ahead of a scheduled hearing Tuesday in Miami-Dade court. But there's another, more recent clip, provided only to 7. It's a March 5th recording of Clenny, taken by Obumseli, almost exactly a month before she fatally stabbed him in their Miami condo. Prosecutors say it shows Clenny had homicidal ideas regarding her boyfriend when she said this.
I'm actually not having a good day, or I actually literally want to kill you, but you don't take me seriously. Baby, I'm so sorry.
On April 3rd of this year, Obumseli was stabbed by Clenny before he died at Jackson later that night. Clenny's been in jail since August awaiting trial.
I'm sorry, gang. Like I hate to see, the hindsight be 2020. And sometimes things that are obvious, don't become obvious until after the bad or catastrophic thing has already happened. And Christian was correct to be running tape on this chick. But unfortunately, again, him running tape on her did not help to save his life. He just documented his abuse, hopefully to the point where a jury in Miami-Dade County, Florida, will understand that he was a victim of intimate partner violence. And the person who committed this violence against him was a woman, his girlfriend, Courtney Clenny. So I have to give a content warning for this next clip we're about to play. TMZ had this, and it didn't have to be TMZ. I will credit TMZ because I got it from them, but this shit has been making the rounds, this and others. And again, I really don't like to do the trauma porn, to be honest. And that's why this next video we're about to hear and see, like I said, there were several others. And I don't think that I needed to pull 4 and 5 clips of this fucking terrible person berating her partner for y'all to get the point. Okay, right? Because again, there was lots of minutes of her wilding the fuck out on this dude in front of others, by the way. People who, I guess, and again, it's hard to gauge by a snapshot, a 2-minute, 5-minute snapshot into that particular point in time for those folks. So I don't know if people actually intervene, but Not from the videos and not from any of the reporting that I've heard. I have not heard, the couple had to be separated by friends. No, I've heard the police get involved. I've heard building management have to, hotel management have to come and see what the fuck is up. But whoever the fuck was running tape, not whoever was not Christian, right? Whoever was in their circle, in their sphere, I don't know what was done to intervene here. But regardless, so content warning for abusive language, abusive behaviors, for assault. She puts her hands on him in this clip and she berates him. She diminishes him. She is using her powers not only as a white person, but as a white woman, and as a white woman with some means. And you're going to hear that. You're going to hear her throw her money in his face. That is a form of abuse. That is a form of emotional and financial manipulation and abuse. And I'm telling you, this bitch is textbook. She really is. So anyway, let's take a look at this clip. I believe this was filmed in Aspen when the couple were there vacationing. I'm not certain of the date, so my apologies for that. So let's take a look at this clip.
Anyway, I was fucking sober for 2 weeks. 2 weeks, 2 weeks. And now why am I not sober? Because of you. You're hindering my progress.
You need to sit down. You need to sit
Let go of me. Let go of me.
Come on.
Let go of me.
Okay.
Come on, boy. Let go of me. I can't even, I'll try to hit you later. Get the fuck off me.
You don't want to hit me?
Christian, he saw me, and I know he's looking. I'm fucking, fed up with you. I'm fed up. I'm fed up with how you fucking treat me. Yes, I'm not mad at you.
You let Moana say some lying ass shit that affected you.
I didn't let her say anything.
I didn't say.
You fucking did it.
Hey, let's go to Moana right now. Let's pull up to her.
No. I'm just gonna say her the same.
No, she's in the group chat. Let's put her on the phone right now.
I dare you.
Yeah, you dare me? Keep saying it.
You do it?
Then stop saying it then.
Do it?
Then stop saying it then. Then stop saying it then. Come on. Ask her. Ask her, did I touch her breast yesterday?
Do you see how fucking instigative he is?
No, you're telling me I touched her breast yesterday when I fucking...
You did. I didn't say you fucking touched it.
You said I did.
You were leaning. Yo, you were dumb as fuck. I actually don't want to be with you. Actually, I'm done.
Okay.
Can you send him home?
Yeah.
Actually, I'm done.
Okay, fine.
Fucking done. Done. Because you're fucking you're costing me money. I didn't do shit since I got to this fucking house because of you.
You let Milan say some lying ass shit?
No, because you were fucking flirting with fucking 3 girls the whole time.
What 3 girls? What 3 girls? You?
Well, maybe
you
it doesn't matter.
You? Milan? I was flirting with Milan?
And she's saying, hey, come get your man.
You're fucking
He's
lying.
trying to come home with me.
You're lying.
No, I'm not.
You're lying. She said, come get your man. That I was trying to hit on Milan. Come on, baby.
Okay.
That doesn't even sound right.
Christian, you're fired.
Fine.
Hopefully, shut up.
You will never see me again. You are the most
good bitch. Motherfucker
I ever met in my
Hopefully
life.
you will let me.
Courtney.
Fuck you too. Get the fuck out of here. This isn't even your fucking house.
Yeah, cool.
It's not my house. You're just like my fucking boyfriend. Get the fuck out of here.
Just like your boyfriend?
I can actually get shit done if you're not here.
Yeah.
Get the fuck out of here.
Okay, I'll remember that next time.
Get out of here. No, that's not gonna be the next time. Get the fuck out.
Stop touching
Get
me.
out.
Don't touch me again.
Good thing, get out, bitch. Get out.
Bitch.
You never loved me. The way you talked, the way that you treated the fucking girls last night, you fucking embarrassed me. I don't want anything to do with you.
Embarrassed yesterday. You're really just self-conscious. You always talk about, oh, Christian, you like this. I say, what did I tell you before? You're the baddest person in this bitch. No one has anything on you. I tell you this every day. I have text messages that you say, Christian, thank you for the content.
Shut up! But you don't do it the next day!
Why are you screaming? There's people in this house.
Get out, for real. I never want to see you again.
Whew, that's not easy to watch. That's not easy to hear. And all I have is so much sympathy for Christian and honestly rage towards Courtney. Because it's like, You just heard some of the ways in which she was gaslighting him. You know what I mean? I was sober for 2 weeks until you did. So what? Your sobriety depends on his behavior. Like it's his fault that you got back on whatever substance you were on. That's manipulative, right? Talking about asking the third person in the room, do you hear how he instigates? I didn't hear him instigating anything. I heard him trying to speak to her in a very calm and rational way. I heard her continuing to escalate and ratchet up the situation and threaten his stability, right? Can you telling her assistant, I don't know who the other person was who was running tape. Can you send him home, right? Can you get him the fuck out of my face? Cuz obviously as the breadwinner in the relationship, Courtney had the ability to do that, right? If she didn't want to see Christian in her face no more, she would be rid herself of him, remove him from her presence, right? That's a form of abuse, right? Telling him he's fired. So now you jeopardizing his livelihood, like, but just dangling these things over him, like knowing that I guess in some ways he was dependent on her for housing, for income, etc. And some might argue, well, he was a grown man. He was supposed to have his own. I guess. I mean, like, but there's women that find themselves in that situation, in that financially dependent, emotionally dependent situation, all the time. So it doesn't shock me or surprise me or make me think any less of Christian because he was dependent on her for these things anyway, but that shit don't even matter. Like he could have been 100% dependent on her for everything. It absolutely did not give her a right to kill him. But you hear the false accusations. Oh, I don't know if they were false, but the accusations of looking at other girls, to talking to other girls. You never loved me. You're the worst boyfriend. I hate you. You know what I mean? And all the while, still putting her hands on him, doing a lot of pushing, doing a lot of touching, smacking and such. I certainly am under no fallacy that I'm sure she did a lot more, even in advance of her killing Christian, right? I'm sure she put she was arrested for it at least once in Las Vegas for domestic violence. It's documented. So where does this lead? First of all, again, her trial is slated to start in Miami this month. That jury selection is going to be a mother, okay? That jury selection is going to be a mother, y'all. Cuz we know. I mean, there's black folks in Miami-Dade, but there's also a lot of anti-blackness in Miami-Dade, right? From everybody, okay? From the whites, from the Cubans, right? Like it's hard. I imagine, for black folks, immigrant black folks, black folks and black Americans, right? It's going to be a little tough. And I'm not so convinced that America has progressed to the point that a lot of people potentially are going to be bringing their hangups surrounding the racial and gender dynamics between Christian and Courtney. That they are not going to be bringing that to the courtroom. Just count on it, right? This is America. Like it's 2024. Kamala Harris is the vice president. Nobody gives a fuck. Nobody gives a fuck. This is America, bitch. If America didn't have racism, what would it be? I'm concerned because to me, this is not a slam dunk case. And the police have already started off on the wrong fucking foot by not collecting all the evidence at the scene of the crime and by belatedly making an arrest of Courtney Clenny. What was the other part of? Oh, duh. But the other part about this, guys, is what was Christian's alternatives, right? Like many victims and survivors of domestic violence, I'm sure Christian got a lot of advice. Why don't you just leave? Why don't you just go? She's so terrible. Why don't you just leave? And kind of for the reasons that I mentioned before, there may have been clearly some dependency there. He may not have the ability to leave, just like a lot of women cannot just up and go from domestic violence situations from male partners, right? For all kinds of reasons. But what are the resources available for men who are themselves victims of domestic violence? They estimate that 1 in 10 men in both hetero and same-sex relationships will experience domestic violence at some point. But again, like most of these statistics, it is widely assumed that that is an undercount, right? That is not a fully accurate representation of exactly how many men experience domestic violence. I've had a couple of my guy friends be on the receiving end of domestic violence, and it's like, what do you even tell them? You know what I mean? Like, I can't tell. I think I might have told one of my guy friends, like, dog, you can't just. What was that? Was that an old Jamie Foxx stand up? You can't just shake the shit out of her. Oh no, it was Chris Rock. You can't just shake the shit, like, shake her ass. And they was like, yo, I could, but she still got the knife in her hand, right? Like, I could shake her, but that's just bringing her a little closer to me, right? Do I want to be in that close proximity of somebody that is, potentially threatening my life? And it's really hard. Like, as difficult as you can imagine it is to offer up advice to a woman who is experiencing violence in her relationship with a man who may be cohabitating or even married to a man, like, and may even have children with this man, may have a business with this man, may have all kinds of shit with this man. Like, it's as difficult as you can imagine it is to tell that woman, to leave, or how to respond. It's like, what do you tell a man? Like, how do you because the basic fact is that men don't get a lot of consideration out here. Jesus, am I going soft? I'm out here taking up for the men. Something's the matter. Ooh, let me check my temperature. But my point is, like, the response to a man who is making a claim of domestic violence against a woman is, you couldn't just handle her? Like, you couldn't handle that situation? Like, you let her get that close to you? You let her overpower you? How could you let her stab you? Aren't you stronger than her? Couldn't you stop her? And the fact of the matter is, people respond differently when presented in either life or death situations, or situations in which they experience trauma, right? People have fight or flight. Some people freeze. Some men, I would imagine, would think that there's only two responses here, right? Like, I either do nothing, or I kill her, or kill / slap the shit out of her. And especially as a black man, regardless of the race of the woman that you slapping, well, maybe not regardless, but generally, like, if you defend yourself from violence with violence, a man correctly should assume that he is going to be more likely to go to jail, right? So if she's hitting you, slapping you, and you slap her, and then all of a sudden, so the jaw is out of play, and you only slapped her one time to her 10 times slapping you, you are going to be the one in trouble. And I am empathetic. I hear that. I understand that. That is real. That is a thing. How do we help brothers that are in these situations? Men generally, but because we're talking about the murder of a black man in an intimate partner violence situation, I'm talking to brothers because I can understand brothers. Y'all don't want to, y'all no, a man that has been in an abusive relationship does not want to admit that he's been in said relationship or that kind of relationship, because people emasculate men. You know what I mean? Like, if you're not at the height of masculinity, which I guess in some ways assumes that you can and will and should physically dominate a woman if need be, and if you don't do that, then you're somehow less than a man. And that's not accurate, because I think attempting to walk away from a situation is showing tremendous masculinity, right? Like, the primitive brutality, somewhat default nature of a man would have him respond to a woman bringing him violence with violence. But to me, the height of masculinity is having the self-awareness and the maturity and the understanding that it's not reciprocal levels of violence. Like, she might be bringing a shit ton of violence towards you, but if you reciprocate at the same level, it's gonna hit different. Pardon the pun. But unfortunately, it's like, I don't know what Christian could have done to save his life. again, some would argue that he should have left. Some would argue that he should have retaliated more physically. I think in some way Christian didn't think that I don't know. I'm kind of torn about whether or not Christian believed that she would kill him or not. Because on one hand, I feel as though he had to have suspected it, or else he would not have run the tape on her that he did, right? Like something in him told him that he needed to document this himself, right? He knew that the shit had been documented by closed camera, closed circuit TV in their, apart condo building, and friends slash associates, her assistants or whatever, had documented some stuff, but he needed to run tape himself, because if that's how that bitch act in front of company, right, in front of others, the shit she must have been saying to him when it was just the two of them, I can only imagine. And the shit that she was doing it to him when it was just the two of them behind closed doors, I can only imagine. So, and I really don't know what the signs are for men who are experiencing domestic violence. I don't know if they isolate themselves potentially in the same way. I would imagine the survival behaviors or the reactions. A lot of victims would have similar responses to intimate partner violence, but I wonder sometimes, you know what I mean, if the responses are gendered in some way. Like how do men respond to domestic violence versus how women respond? And I just think that, men are just more likely to be introverted with it. I think they are definitely less likely to express it. But make no mistake, let Christians lost a life be an example. Like, please don't think that fellas can't lose their lives out here to a woman. They absolutely can. To a woman who may even claim to love you, a woman you may have children by, a woman you might be married to, right? Like, I mean, the shit can go down. And trust me, I ain't gone completely soft out here, y'all. I mean, when we talking about proportionality, I mean, there's no question. Like the mandem got that whole shit on lock. Like dudes kill way more of their women partners than women partners kill their men. But just because it happens at a lesser rate doesn't mean don't talk about it, right? Like to the contrary, we actually need to loud it up more. And from what I was doing, basic, some cursory research, fellas who may be experiencing domestic violence, I mean, the hotlines and the resources that you think are only available for women, they're actually available for men too. Now, to the extent that there are shelters or emergency housing in place for men, I think you would have to try to contact wherever your local municipality is, your town, to see what kind of services there are available. But if they're not available equally for men, that sounds like a lawsuit. I mean, that sounds like some people need to get sued, because there absolutely needs to be equal access. Because we're not going to pretend as though men are not victims ever of domestic violence. They absolutely are, and their needs of an emergency kind need to be addressed. That also requires, make sure that they have funding and resources. But I think most emergency or crisis assistance for domestic violence victims, they're trained to talk to everybody. You know what I mean? They're trained to talk to everybody. So if you know of a man, or if you are a man that is experiencing something like that, call them places that you think is just for women, because it's not just for women. It is for y'all too. Okay. And if anybody tells you that they're going to kill you, and they're not saying that shit in jest, you understand? Like they didn't say that shit like, if you don't pick up your socks, I'm gonna kill you. You know what I mean? Like, like you kind of know the context of things. Like, yes, she is serious about me picking up my socks. No, I don't think she's serious about killing me. But the way that bitch talked Christian, she was like, and she even said it. She's like, you think I'm fucking playing, right? Do not take her, him, them. Don't take them for a joke. If somebody says some shit to you in a very serious tone, don't laugh that shit off. Don't shrug it off. Don't excuse it away. Oh, she didn't really mean it. No, 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 no. Because verbalizing something is the step after thinking about it, right? So by the time someone is actually let the thing come out their mouth, they've already thought about the shit, okay? Lots. And them saying it aloud is just the first time they've said it. They have been thinking about the shit, and you better take them at their word. Don't play games when someone is making what I definitely would not consider to be an idle threat. If it's said in anger, or with meanness behind it, or with malice, or you know what I mean, with aggression behind it, you better take that shit fucking seriously. Whew. For anyway, y'all, we are going to be keeping an eye on this trial. Yeah, because it's going to be a doozy, quite the doozy. But anyway, I'm going to call it a night here, gangaroonies. Noli D, I've seen some of my brothers. There's some crazy bitches out here. Absolutely, make no mistake about it. That's crazy. Dawn Bird, is that Dawny? Oh, Anna Hart, thank you so much, Anna. Yeah, and y'all, I'd be curious because again, I'm interested in the topic of domestic violence because I would like for it to stop. I would like for domestic violence to come to an end. Please and thank you. But if there's discussions, particularly on YouTube, because I'm interested in what these dynamics look like outside of hetero relationships. I'm interested in what this looks like in the LGBTQ community. You know what I mean? Like, do people talk about it? Do they respond? Do they help? Do they react? Do they just deal? You know what I mean? So I got questions I'd like to know. So thank you guys. Listen, if you ever want to support the channel, you can do that. What's up, Raul? Thank you so much for coming through. BIDWKB, the acronym for Burn It Down with Kim Brown. BIDWKB. That is us on the Cash App, on the Venmo, on the PayPal, and that is us on the Patreon. And we support, yes, we support y'all support. We absolutely do. And I just wanted to thank you all. Shout out to Franny French. Franny French, you've been a consistent supporter. Shout out to Black Magic, also been a consistent reporter and supporter. Black Magic. Who else? Sister Shirley, brother James, brother Lateef, been out here supporting and repping Horde for a long time. I sure appreciate it, everybody. Shout out to the good sis Court. Don't forget, y'all, next Saturday, not this Saturday, right? Anna, no, next Saturday. Anna know the day, girl. You know I don't not know be knowing days. Whatever day on the calendar, number day is next Saturday, not this Saturday. You can join us for our Around the Fire Disability Support Chat. Oh, I got something to tell y'all at the support chat too. So anyway, I'll hold that. Gang, thank you all for everything that you do. Y'all be safe out here. Tune in tomorrow, Saturdays, what Renee on Black Power Media, along with Reverend Dr. Jared Ball. They always have a great conversation. I know Jared's going to go on about how tall Renee is. Oh, Renee's got the tall. Oh, I can't stand you tall bitches. Like, hey, tall. So, no, actually, I don't hate you, Renee. Afro tall too, and do not hate Afro either. But I'm just jealous. I have to talk through my jealousy, y'all, because if I just remain jealous on the inside, that shit would eat me up. I think it's healthy to express, because I think there's a difference between envy and jealousy, right? I think envy is malicious. I think jealousy helps for you to step your fucking game up. Now, granted, I'm jealous of Afra and Renee for being tall, so I cannot exactly step my game up in the height department. So there are some things you're jealous of that you cannot compensate for, right? So I just have to be openly jealous at these 5'9" and 5'11" bitches. Anyway, I got to talk through it, y'all. I cannot let it fester. I got to talk through my jealousy. But anyway, I love you both. So anyway, shout out to Will and Molly for all that you guys do to keep this thing moving and rolling along. And gang, we will see y'all back here on Tuesday. Be safe, gang. See y'all later. Bye-bye. Have a good one. Have a good one.